Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Doomlink's Life Hunt series. I'm somewhat pleased to say that I'm back in Generations Ultimate. Perhaps I shouldn't even mention the word pleasure. It's really not. It's neither pleasurable nor displeasing. It's just, I'm here playing Generations Ultimate. I don't play it very often. I understand that some of you would like to see me play this game more often than I do. And with that understanding, I'm here recording it now. So there you have it. It really is a fairly prosaic state of affairs. I just thought I'd show my character because I haven't shown it recently. As you can see, a reasonable amount of playtime, but still not that much for a Monster Hunter game, in my opinion. Monster Hunter is one of those series where you can easily clock 1.5 to 2k hours over a period of years. The only reason why I don't have more is because I play so much of other Monster Hunter games, quite frankly. I need to make sure that my cropping's correct. Yes, it is correct. The last time I recorded a console game was when I was recording Generations Ultimate, so yeah, unsurprisingly, my recording setup is more or less okay. I have been steadily paying for Nintendo Online, so I should be able to connect. When I say steadily paying for, I just mean that obviously I'm paying it as a subscription service, and I'm not really using it, so that's actually one of the other reasons why I've decided to play today. It's the realization that I have been steadily paying for this subscription service. In other words, the right, the privilege, in fact, not the right. I'm paying for the privilege of connecting to Nintendo's online servers, and I'm not really availing myself of that privilege. I'm just paying for it and not using it, so there you are. We've got a charm farm room, which is astonishing. I almost can't believe this is still happening in this day and age, but that's alright. Avondale, this is a turns room. There is no mention of it being exclusively deviant hunts, so even though there is a deviant on the board currently, based on the information presented to me on the screen, I will actually go in there and give it a try. Just for the sake of illuminating my audience. I do not like deviant hunts. I try to avoid them. So my negative comments there are essentially based on that fact. I am going to say hi to them, otherwise they will depart without me. I can assure you of that. Oh god, my controller buttons are really sticky. Largely, I think, because I haven't used this controller recently at all. Alright, so definitely Ice Element, unless of course I didn't want to use Element in general. I actually do have a loadout that's appropriate. Is this for... no, this is Pierce. I wasn't sure if this was Pierce or Heavy Shot. These guys are just going to have to relax. I'm sure that they're antsy and on the edge of their seats. Ooh, that's not good. I didn't even press that button. That was a button that I well and truly did not press, which means that this controller needs to be broken in a little bit after its non-use. I might bring Elemental Gunlance, that's fun. That is assuming they don't depart without me. This is all, of course, assuming that I'm able to depart on this quest. If I am permitted to do so, it will be fun to use. Hello, Ren. Hope things are going a little bit better for you at the moment than they were when we last spoke. Not last spoke live, but on my server. Any food, quite frankly, would be ideal. I don't think Pyro is going to affect Gunlance shells. I did initially eat for Pyro with the assumption that perhaps they would have an effect, but looking at the description of the actual food itself, or the food skill, doesn't appear to be the effect that it has. Let's take some max potions, or one. I do not need those flaming shots. Alright, this should be quite fine. So, fortunately, I was actually able to depart with this team. Against all the odds, really. I've decided to fill it a little lower so that I don't risk spilling it. And by it, very obviously I am referring to the beverage that I am currently drinking. First Aid Med Plus. I will take one because I suspect that whoever chose not to actually take one is offering his to a person who may need it more than him. And I suspect that whoever is... Let's imagine there's a scenario where someone's dying a lot, or even once, and in the process of dying, this person has actually expended a lot of healing wares. Well, it would actually be beneficial for them to take the one that remains in the box. At that point. Although, what are the chances of the person checking the box that far into the hunt? I don't know. Maybe they would check almost out of desperation. But I like that idea, you know, someone who doesn't really need it, just leaving it for a person who perhaps does. And if you think about it, it would be overall more beneficial for a person who does need it to take it. Because maybe that would be the difference between failure and success for the entire team. That's the way I'm making sense of that. As you can clearly see, however, I am not one of those people who is not in need of them. I very much am in need of them. I don't know if this was a good choice to use Gunlance or not, but it's not the button combination that I intended to press, just for the record. I did not randomly shield during an opportunity to attack, with the full intention of shielding. It was a mistake. I do have Blast Dash. No, let me just get a full combo here so that I can work myself up to red. I don't know if I'm actually going to take myself into the red before doing a Wyvern Fire. I don't always have the patience to do that. It would be more accurate to say that I almost never, but do you know what? I went for it, and the question becomes, did it actually make contact? Because I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'm going to sharpen up here because I am bouncing with blue sharpness. It's not a good sign, because, as you can see, I don't have very much white sharpness at all. If this were a different weapon type, this would be a little more manageable. But, no, with that amount of white sharpness on a gun lance, it is depleted very quickly. Oh god. I might Blast Dash you here. Was fortunately, I'm quite sure, able to get off that heavy shot. So I don't believe this is a timed confrontation. I think it's just one after the other. Once we have killed the Zenoga, we should then fight the Bolt Reaver. I could be entirely incorrect, of course. I'm just going based on an assumption. Obviously, there are some timed confrontations. Usually, I think that's the triple quests, though. So usually, the second monster would be timed, and then the third would arrive once the first two have been killed. But as for a double quest for a Deviant, I'm just going to work on the assumption that it is just one after the other, like a sequential double quest. I don't know if sequential is a helpful word there, but it is indeed one after the other. I don't know if it adequately describes the fact that we have to wait until the first one is dead before the next one comes. It could be sequential, but timed, in other words. That's why it's not a helpful word. I will use Blast Dash again. Just need to make sure that I had my shots charged, because if they're not, it is very much a waste of Blast Dash. I am in the red, but I do want to... Oh, this is good, actually. Does the Bolt Reaver immediately appear? He doesn't. So if the Bolt Reaver doesn't immediately appear once this one dies, that actually suggests to me that it is timed. That's interesting. Well, I'm glad we've got a good team here. That works very well. I'm going to get myself a little bit further up the gauge here. But I think it's... Now, this is going to sound a little bit daft, but I think if you reach the end of your red gauge, your gun lance overheats? Am I correct about that? The reason why I'm not sure is because I never do it. I always have that assumption in the back of my mind that that is what happens, and so I never do it, and now I've just become a little bit uncertain as to whether or not that happens at all, but I'm pretty sure it does. I am correct, apparently. That's good. Here comes our friend, the Bolt Reaver. Alright, so I'm going to Wyvern Fire. Can I get it out? Not quite, unfortunately. But yes, that is going to be my first attack. It's my priority, I just want to get it out. Oh, that's a knockdown. Excellent. I'm going to go into the body just so that I'm freeing up the head for someone else to hit that. Excellently done. That's a little bit self-congratulatory, don't you think? Saying to myself, very well done. But I'd say that was, you know, could have been worse. Now here's the question. If I'm in the red, as I am now, is that going to increase the damage of Dragon Blast? I don't know. Now obviously all Gunlance shelling, whether it's a charged shell or a Wyvern Fire, that is going to be affected by the colour, or rather the heat of my Gunlance. But what about Hunter Arts? Do they specifically get a damage boost? Or is it set damage? That is something I do not know. I'm always happy to admit the things that I either never did learn, or the things that I have since forgotten in the mists of time. Things that have just disappeared, slowly but surely. My stamina bar could not handle that onslaught. That was too demanding a task. I accidentally pressed the L1 button. We'll just say the left shoulder button, I think that's descriptive enough. If I say L1, the assumption is going to be that I'm using a PlayStation controller. I am not. Thank God for guard up. I do believe that is required to guard that attack. I do not have guard up, which means that it is not required. There you are. Process of elimination. If I don't have it, and I guarded it, means I don't need it. Thank you, Doomlink. Oh. Try to guard that. The reason why I'm doing this is so that I can build my stamina back up. Okay, well, I'll just... Oh, Jesus, apparently if I do make contact with that, it just hits me away. That actually can be, under certain circumstances, helpful. It's actually better to be hit by that than a direct attack, or one of those really heavy direct attacks from the Astalos. I'm waiting for... Well, no, I don't know if I want to do a Blast Dash right now. I'd like to Wyvern Fire into the red again and then use Blast Dash. I think that would be a better choice. So, Blast Dash, I think... So the heavy shot from Blast Dash, I'm going to actually assume, is boosted by the damage of your gun's heat gauge. And the reason why is because it feels like an add-on. So the actual Blast Dash itself is the advance forward attack. Although, no, it's called Blast Dash, isn't it? I don't know. Now I'm just confused. I was going to say that the advance forward attack is really what Blast Dash is, and then your choice to do a heavy shot after that is actually completely your Gunlance damage. It doesn't relate in any way to the damage of the Hunter Art, but when they call it Blast Dash, it sort of sounds like it's inclusive of the heavy shot from your Gunlance, so... That's the next question. Is Blast Dash level 2 and level 1 weaker to Blast Dash 3 insofar as the slam, like the advance forward slam attack, and only that, or is the heavy shot also weaker? That is the ultimate question. I would assume that Blast Dash 2 and 1 are weaker in terms of the damage of the... oh, for fuck's sake. I couldn't shield fast enough. You could see what was happening there. Anyway, that's the question. So I would assume that, let's say, Blast Dash 2, in comparison with Blast Dash 3, for example, the actual impact of the Gunlance physically on the monster is reduced, but also, I'd say the distance that you travel is reduced. This is my Elemental Gunlance set, yeah. It's a little bit unique. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't have any guard skills on it, but it does have artillery skills, so it is still tailored to the Gunlance, but tailored to the Gunlance weapon type. After all that, I did lose my heat gauge, which is unfortunate, but life goes on, doesn't it? I was dithering far too much. I have to say, something about... Do you know what it is? It's because I'm playing full screen, so when I play the 3DS games on this display that I'm using right now, it's not full screen. For me. But the game is currently full screen on this display because I'm, you know, playing off the Switch, and so I feel like my eyes need to adjust to having all of this information covering the entirety of the screen. If you ever go from, I don't know, windowed mode to full screen gaming, full screen can be a little bit overwhelming. I'm not suggesting that's why I died, just to be clear. I'm just saying that that's a difficulty that I'm having at the moment. It's actually absorbing all the information on the screen. It's like an almost sensory overload right now. Like I actually have to move my eyes. It's not... I have to move my eyes to see all the information. I can't just have it in my peripheral vision. Or even just have a slight movement of the eyes. Like it's a proper, almost head movement to see everything. So, you know, an adjustment is needed, I suppose. Yeah, alright. I just don't know what you'll do. Oh, for fuck's sake. Here we go. Imagine if I got hit twice by that same lightning ball thing. Am I the only death, or have we had two? I am the only death, okay. Turns out that I'm the weak link here. I've gone from the Doomlink to the weak link. Sounds cleverer than it actually is, now that I think about it. Or perhaps the other way around, maybe it's cleverer than it sounds. Oh, that was a mount. Alright, are you immediately going to go into an attack? You are not, but I will have to hold for your roar. I do not have any resistance to roars. Just feels foreign to be mounting in this game. It's not a natural feeling. I might Wyvern Fire. Well, no, it's too tempting to get into the red, so I'm going to do that. Whatever I was intending to do there with my shells, it didn't happen. It didn't come out. It was not as intended or planned. Why do I keep cycling in the worst direction for... No, I'm not cycling in the worst direction for whetstones. They're almost in the middle. I keep thinking, oh, I shouldn't have to cycle this much to get to my whetstones, but no, I've just got a shitload of drinks. Going to the right side, and then going to the left side, I have a lot of other stuff as well. Hello, Wonderlord. Oh, okay, so it was 2 deaths. We had insurance. Very good. But I suppose, for argument's sake, go fuck yourself, will you? Someone is extremely dedicated to the life powders here. I don't know if this motherfucker's got a wide range or what. I can pray that that Wyvern Fire made contact, but I suspect that it didn't. I do actually have rations, so I'd better use them, otherwise there really was no point taking them. And I will of course benefit from consuming them, so let's just do that now. So yeah, for the G5, I believe both the Zenoga and the Astalos are at full health. They don't have reduced health on account of the fact that it's a multiple monster quest. Jesus. Alright, let's retreat and heal. I'm using regular potions so that I don't waste my megas. That did not look like a timely, or at least a well-timed dive, but I was able to get out of the way of the tail in that moment. Oh shit! You saw precisely what almost happened there. I almost blast dashed into the attack, into one of the heaviest attacks that this monster deals. That would have been really infelicitous. Ooh, are you going to get hit by that? You did get hit by it, and in fact, you basically had 1 HP, or at least I can say that your HP was not visible on my screen. Let's do Dragon Blast, that's an excellent opportunity. No, shouldn't have done that. I should have done Wyvern Fire, but that doesn't mean I can't still try. Let's... Shoot. I wanted to shield the roar and then go into it, but... And I would have been successful, I think. But that's alright. I got hit by his fucking leg instead. As I explained before, I think depending on the scenario, it's actually better to be hit by that thing than to be hit by that attack. Be better if I had a decent description of that. You know, electric ball. Just fucking die, man. Because I haven't played this game recently, I am going to explain something that fucking annoys me about this game. It is the fact that they wanted to add an almost realism. I'm sure it wasn't this game. I would suspect that it was Cross or Generations. When I say Cross or Generations, I mean, you know, whatever you choose to say. But I would assume that in Generations they tried to have that more realistic way of the monsters dying, where the hunter can't actually walk into the body until it has died. To me, that is so stupid. I'll tell you why it bothers me to start with, otherwise you're not going to understand why I'm explaining this. It is because when you want to carve, it is important for you to position yourself to begin carving immediately. And sometimes that necessitates going inside the body. Now, how is it more realistic to have the body be, like, still physically there? Like, you can't walk inside it until the death animation has completed. Because you're going to be able to walk inside it anyway. So why change that? It's such a bizarre thing to do, to me. Like, literally. In every single Monster Hunter game, up until Generations, you were able to walk inside the body as soon as it died. Didn't matter if it was doing a death animation or not. And you could do that so that you could position yourself for carving. But as of Generations, nah, can't do it. Why? Did they not realize that there's a benefit associated with positioning yourself? So what happens is you have to stand there, and then sometimes where you're standing next to the dying monster is not going to allow you to carve immediately. It's just stupid. It's like a little... It's an efficiency that you have been denied for precisely no decent reason. Like, for no comprehensible reason. But anyway. It's, to me, that's fucking stupid. It's definitely small grievance, but I'm gonna try to sit further back. It's blowing my fucking mind. It's just what I was mentioning before about the screen being a bit overwhelming. Just need to sit back from it a bit so that I can survey it better. Okay. My controller is at low charge. It's got a red light on it. But it's the Wii U Pro controller, so I'm sure I can get away with playing with limited charge in the controller. Oh no, I'm not in need of exchanger at Hunter Rank 999. But yeah, small efficiencies that disappear are really annoying, because if there's no good reason for it to disappear, it just feels annoying. These guys are doing deviants. I think I might move on. Although I haven't done a Deadeye Young Garuga for a while, so maybe it's okay. If Deadeye Young Garuga is weak to ice, which is possible, then I will bring an ice weapon. Deadeye. Do I even have a... Yeah, so I don't have any Deadeye material, so I can't even see what the primary weakness is. I'm not going to bring ice, just in case it's a water weakness, you know. Well, yeah, so it is primarily weak to water, same as the standard Young Garuga. Wonderlord asks how I feel about deviant monsters concept-wise. I mean, when you say concept-wise, that can refer to the monster itself or the quest system. Those are the two conversations that you can have. You can either discuss the monsters themselves or the quest system. When you talk about deviant quests in concept or deviants in concept, to me that more leans on the side of discussing the quest system. That's probably not a good idea to talk into my glass like that. That's ridiculous. It creates a truly absurd sound. I might bring raw charge blade, how about that? I'm also kind of annoyed about the position of my table. Everything just doesn't feel right now. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive to my surroundings. I fucking hate the Deviant quest system. It's basically, please do my urgent, but an entire quest system. I think it's... maybe the idea behind it was honest. Like, it came from a good place, it wasn't done cynically. I mean, I can always feel that way about it, because I do take exception to the way Capcom does things, and sometimes I assume that they don't have the best of intentions when implementing a system in a game, but no, I really don't like the quest system at all. I think the guild quest system was more interesting. You had different quests, so, you know, of course, for a guild quest it had to be hosted by you for you to level it up, but you could still benefit from other people's guild quests. It made a little bit more sense that you had to level up your own, because your own quest would have its own benefits, but then you could also do other people's quests. So, what I'm saying is that you could benefit a little bit more meaningfully from leveling up another person's guild quest. You can technically benefit from leveling up another person's Deviant quest in this game, because maybe you're forging the armor or you're forging a weapon. But if you're looking at the Deviant quest system as, you know, like from a completionist standpoint, where you want to get to all of the EX monsters and you do want to, you know, get a crown next to your name. You can see I've only got the small crown. I think you get that just from killing one of your own EXs, so it's definitely not much of an achievement. From that perspective, I think it's ridiculous. The idea that I have to host my own quest the whole way through, it frustrates me personally. Is there a better way to do it? Probably not. So I would just throw the whole system out, I'd do something different. For example, I wouldn't have it be a quest system, I'd just have it be monsters that you fight. Maybe for each level, like imagine you've got G1, G2, G3, maybe you would have a selection of possible deviant monsters that come through on rotation, and depending on whether it's G1, G2, etc., it would be a stronger version of that monster, with the same drops, but just a stronger version. In fact, maybe not the same drops, but just better drops, better, let's say, drop chance. That's the way I look at it. I think EX monsters are pathetic. I don't think they're very interesting at all. But it's alright. I can't, to be honest, I'm sure I would have a more profound and well-explained opinion about it if you had asked me 2 or 3 years ago. I don't play this game much anymore, and quite frankly, I've put those opinions to bed. I don't really care anymore. It's just, this is what Capcom decided to do. I'm at peace with it. There you go. But I can tell you I wasn't a fan of it initially. I can almost accept the Deviant quest system for G-rank Deviants here in this game. But if you're doing a Monster Hunter Generations Deviant from scratch in this game, going through 15 levels of one fucking monster, it's miserable. It's just stupid. There is absolutely no reason why they had to give you a task like that in this game. This game has so much to do already. So to have such a monotonous and repetitious task to be given to the hunters in a game where you have this many villager requests, I just don't understand it. But yeah, I think there's a better system somewhere. I just don't have the, you could say, perhaps I could say I just don't have the desire to concoct it at this point. But yeah, obviously, on the one hand, you can compare Deviant quests with guild quests, and then you can also compare, say, EX monsters with level 140 guild quest monsters. Or you could even say Apex monsters versus EX monsters, I don't know. Is that the best comparison? I think I didn't even intend to do that right there. I don't even know what my controller's doing. Sometimes I press a button and it presses something else. I know that sounds far-fetched, but it is true. You're just gonna have to trust me. I'm actually getting really sick of this guy who possibly has wide range, but I suspect, in fact, is just using endless life powders. It just means that I feel like I'm constantly wasting my own healing wares, because before I can even heal myself, he's already healed me. But I'm still in the process of using one of my own items. Like, do I just sit back and let someone heal me for me? I'm sure it's well-intentioned, but it's fucking annoying. The person didn't heal Manyi, so maybe I shouldn't do what I just suggested. But yeah, to be clear, I don't like level 140 guild quests all that much, and I also don't like Apex monsters from 4 Ultimate. I think the monsters themselves are fine, I just hate the whole Wystone system, which is indeed attached to the Apex monsters. I do prefer EX monsters to that, to be clear. I know I said I'm not a huge fan of the EX monsters, but I guess when discussing these things, it's important to separate the quest system from the monsters themselves, and I don't think I've done that very well in my explanation here. I actually really like the Deviant monsters themselves. I think they're excellent. I think it's a better system. Or rather, no, not a better system. They are more interesting to fight than any subspecies prior to Generations and Generations Ultimate. They're essentially really, really good subspecies, and I like them a lot. Like, as a fight, they're really good. One thing I don't like about the fights, however, is because they're Deviants, you're usually listening to the same theme every time. And it's not a good theme. I mean, some people enjoy it. I've had that discussion briefly with the people who play the Japanese version, Double Cross. You know, some people actually do like the theme, but I don't. I think it's... I can take it or leave it, but when I'm fighting so many monsters, and it's just the same theme, it makes that repetitive process even more repetitive. You know, the process of leveling up the monsters slowly but surely just becomes even more agonizing. So, my hair is just not sitting on my head properly. Sorry, this is probably the Doomlink complains about anything and everything recording. I don't know why that is. Must be out of sorts. Got a Garuga Lash, someone's going to complain about noob carving, you can do so. The reason why I do it is because if a monster leaves the area, I'm going to just follow the monster and completely forget about carving the tail, so that's why I do it. I definitely wouldn't say that I love young Garuga, but I think he's got an interesting Deviant version here. Pretty cool. The idea that he has an augmented version of his giant beak slam is pretty cool. Oh god, how are you going into a tail flip that quickly after finishing your last one? That's the question I have for you. Bloody pest. Well, it turns out that I had to choose my words carefully there because Deadeye is Wonderlord's favourite deviant monster of all time. Well, actually no, his favourite monster of all time, so I'm glad I didn't dog his preference or anything like that. I'd like to get an energy blade out. Well, I'm glad that that made contact. I was sort of aiming for the head in a way, but got the wing. Oh, I think Rajang's in this area. Well, if it weren't already clear, it now fucking is. I just heard his roar. I didn't see him at all. He was... Well, I'm not going to say that he was camouflaged or anything, but he was definitely not all that visible. Oh, actually, I can just do Ripper Shield. There we go. Very nice. Okay, well, I managed to guard point that. We'll pretend that that was entirely intended. God, look at him go. That's pretty cool. That he can actually travel at that speed. But yeah, what I would say is, just in summary, I love the monsters, I hate the quest system. It's as simple as that. Actually, I'd better get my red shield here. Don't interrupt it, Raja. Ooh, I'm so used to having files after doing that. Hello, DOR. Apparently you usually watch me on YouTube, but you've caught me live this time. I'm glad you're able to watch me live. And apparently you don't really like this game. Fair enough. I can respect an opinion like that. I don't mind this game. I think it's pretty good. For what it is, I can appreciate it. I generally prefer 4 Ultimate, but that's not to suggest that there are things that I don't dislike about that game. There are plenty of things that I'm not a fan of there. God. That was a strange situation, wasn't it? I got hit by something. I just got hit by the movement of the monster. Great. Got 2 dead people. Not quite in range. Almost got hit by his second slam though. Just for the, I'm bringing out the sword mode just for the added mobility. I am bedeviled by blue sharpness once again. I think some people are a little bit intimidated by how much content there is in this game. I was frustrated by the amount of content insofar as trying to get through the villager request system. For me it was, I had a lance set that I wanted to make. I would have been maybe HR 80 something at the time. It was like the first few months of the game's release. And keeping in mind that I did carry my save over from Generations. And I wanted to make some pieces of the Grand Tokar armor set. And I just could not for the life of me work out how to actually unlock that fucking set. Just the convoluted nature of the villager request system, because of how many villager requests there were, made it so that I just couldn't fucking work out what I was doing. Could not work out how to do it. And I remember a friend of mine at the time, and this suggestion pissed me off, and I'm sure it was tongue-in-cheek, but he said to me, "You want to know how to unlock it? Just do all of the villager requests." And I was like, well, that's a really shit suggestion, but to be honest, that's the only way it's going to work, so that's what I did. I didn't actually complete every single villager request, but I have done most of them. I just kept completing villager requests until I eventually unlocked that fucking armor set. It took a long time. I had to do a lot of villager requests, but it did happen eventually. And I think I still have that lance set to this day. If I don't, then that's kind of sad, because that actually caused me to quit Generations Ultimate for a solid 4 months, because the fact that an armor set was locked behind a quest system that I couldn't even understand. You know, a quest system that was so large and abstruse that I just couldn't even work out what quests I had to do to get the armor set. It just completely turned me off. And so, when it comes to the gargantuan size of the game's content, that would be the situation that gave me some strife. Gave me reason to be frustrated. I wonder if I made contact there. It was very close. Very close. I've taken so much fucking damage in this quest. It's insane. To be clear, Rome, I haven't mentioned the Grand Tokar armor set in years. I'm pretty sure it has been years since I last mentioned it, and if it hasn't been, I would have mentioned it somewhat recently, and that would have been the first time in years, so, I appreciate that maybe I've said it before, but it's not as frequent as you make it out to be. But it did have an effect on me. It was the newest Monster Hunter game at the time, and I pretty much enjoyed it. I didn't really have too many complaints, but I was actually dissuaded from playing it at all for several months because of that situation. And I can completely, looking back on it, understand why I was so annoyed by it. It is a stupid situation. I do love the design of this weapon. Look at that sword. Very nice. Imagine if the greatsword looked like that. Now, I do understand that it looks similar, but I reckon if you had just a larger version of that, that would look cooler than the greatsword. Or the current greatsword weapon design. If you had that be the greatsword weapon design, I think that would be an even cooler weapon. But they both look good. I'm actually going to check my lance set to see if it's still the Grand Tokar. I bet it's not. I bet I updated it at some point. I have a vague memory of having done that, but that's natural. You know, as you get better talismans as you go through the game, you're going to update your armor set, so I don't take issue with the fact that I've done that. I don't think that I disrespected my past self by disposing of that Grand Tokar lance set. It just happens, so I will double check. Lance, what have I got? No, I've still got it. See, this is the armor set. Now someone's going to say, look, Doomlink, this isn't such an amazing armor set that you needed to quit the game for 4 months over it, but no, seriously. I just needed that. There was no other way to make this set. I needed a Grand Tokar armor piece. I may have been able to choose between, say, the legs or the arms or whatever, but I needed to have at least one piece from that set to make this mixed set, and the fact that I couldn't work out how to do that was, for me, a novel experience. It was completely foreign to me, didn't make any sense, and I was so frustrated by it that I couldn't reconcile the circumstance. That was it. I just had to step away from the game. Because it felt like it was a wall, but it was something that didn't need to exist. There was no good reason for me to be in a situation, like, from the experience that I had with the series at the time, to be unable to forge something because I couldn't work out what I needed to kill. That was just unacceptable to me. So, yeah, I've still got the armor set. It's possible that it can be updated into something else, but this works well for me. Outdoorsman obviously is a bonus skill, but these other skills are pretty good. Like, I'm happy with that. Critical boost, now that I look at it, it probably does need to be updated because critical boost is not going to help in all scenarios. That obviously depends on whether or not I've got... Let me check my lances. I bet some of them don't have any affinity at all. And none of my other skills actually boost affinity here, right? No, I'm an idiot. I forgot what repeat offender does. So critical boost is acceptable in that case. So, yeah. And that already has 15% affinity, so yeah. I'm actually happy with that set in that case. Because I saw the critical boost and I was like, well, where's my critical eye? And then I realized, oh, yeah, repeat offender gives you increased affinity as you thrust your weapon. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty cool loadout. Works well for me. I'd definitely be able to get something better in 4 Ultimate, but in this game I'd say it works just fine. I'm not sure what our next quest is going to be. I bet they're waiting on me. I don't fucking need a quest. Skip. Who would have last posted? P4. Skip. I suppose it's good of them to give me the opportunity, but no, I don't need to post. I'm here to run, here to hunt random things, not to actually work on anything. I might get insurance. Never mind. Let's find another room. I'm not doing that quest again. Gaming, :3. Very cute. You reckon that person is Shitsu from Code Geass? Sorry, I'm doing all the Japanese pronunciation, so I should be saying Code Geass. But anyway. It could be that, or it might be something entirely different. Who knows? Wow, a full Acantor loadout. Question is, for fuck's sake, I didn't want to sit down, did I? Standing right in front of him and you're making me sit down on some bench. Well, you do have Bludgeoner, which is good. I see what he's done. He's got the Nesset loadout and he's made himself look like an Acantor. Which reminds me, I do it so... Oh, Rome managed to get himself in here, which is good. Really? I'm gonna do Arena Prowler. Says Vibin. What a good fucking name. What a good fucking... What's going on with this loadout? This is some... I guess this is entering fetish territory. That loadout. Well... Are you for real? So, this Vibin person is just going to strike out on their own and do some Prowler Arena. So apparently, this Acantor-obsessed person, unsurprisingly, has posted Acantor. I'm happy to do it, but it's quite funny that he's actually posted this monster. Oh, Vibin has left the room, so that's fine. Quite frankly, you didn't really need to announce what it was you were going to do after you'd left the room, because, to be clear, once you've left the room, it is of precisely zero relevance to us, what it is you're actually going to do. So, but that's alright. It's conversational. This person has a personality and wants to talk to us. That's fine. I'm just not used to people having actual personalities in the online play of Generations Ultimate. They tend to be, you know, Pavlov's dog fucking people respond to quest. Me do quest. Pavlov, not Pavlos, sorry. That's a viewer of mine. Knocking my microphone with a glass. It's probably a good way to describe the player base of this game. Pavlov's dogs. Here we go. So we've been issued with a request to aim for something in particular. I need the fangs, so get those if possible. What are we fighting again? Oh yeah. Acantor, so aim for the face. Very good. I think when this guy goes to sleep at night, he dreams of Acantor. He dreams of a big strong Acantor pinning him down on the ground. I will actually take an adamant seed. But yeah, it's just funny to me that a guy with a full Acantor loadout and an Acantor weapon is posting Acantor and still needs stuff from him. But I suppose his goal is to make all of the Acantor stuff. One would assume so. They are good weapons in this game. They're not good weapons in basically every other Monster Hunter game, but in this one they're actually entirely worth using. What I was going to mention before, I was just reminded of it now. Didn't actually complete my sentence last time. Was I do need to make a bitter affinity loadout. I don't have one anymore, I used to. Oh, he is being pinned down by a big stronger Cantor. His dream has come true, look. It's happening. Oh. I bet he did that intentionally. I bet he was, like, he's actually been playing one-handed this whole time, and he needed that for his release. Good on him. Power to him. Some people would need to commit a crime to actually play out their fantasy. Other people have fantasies that can't even be fulfilled. This guy is just living the good life. In Generations Ultimate. Respect to him. Nope. Gotta keep away from this hammer guy. Gotta keep away from this gun lance guy. Oh god, I still managed to get hit after all that. Patience is required. I just have to stand back until... Oh god! Thankfully that didn't hit me. Obviously I have no qualms about aiming for the head, and it's definitely a good hit zone. I don't know why I thought that he wasn't going to run forward there. This is a bit dangerous. Oh dear. The Cantor enthusiasm has led to your death. The same can be said of many addictions. You just have to know when to ease off. Oh god. There we go, managed to get that. I wasn't sure if I had done 3 thrusts or 2, but apparently I had done 2 because I was able to counter that. That worked out rather well. I'm glad to still be able to use this armor set. Feels like it's got some history. I should have just done Shield Assault. Look at me back hopping like a 2nd gen player. I also need to corkscrew a Cantor in the face. But CC might take exception to that. I was hoping for a knockdown with that, and then I could corkscrew this monster. In a completely platonic and non-sexual way. Don't know what it is about my hair today. If you've got long hair, you would understand that on certain days, it usually only happens occasionally, although I do admit that some people have pretty unruly hair. My hair is usually pretty cooperative. Some days of the year, it just doesn't, it feels like it's not even your hair. It's just sitting on your head, and it doesn't even feel like your hair. It's wrong. It feels like it shouldn't even be there. And no matter how it sits on your head, it just feels wrong. So, that's a thing. And that's how it feels right now. There's nothing I can do with it. Well, if only Peaberry were here, he would be able to promptly reject this offer of promotion in the chat. Although I can't imagine why he would do something like that. Quite rude. To reject such a fine offer from an upstanding individual. Like, defective Harpsio? Yeah. I am watching my health slowly depleting, by the way. I have to be careful. Whoa, shit! Quick, get up. I think he's going to his Dragon Breath location, so... Weirdly enough, I actually need to prioritize getting down here over healing. Very good. Yeah, my hair actually looks okay. You know, when your hair doesn't sit on your head properly, you feel like it must look ridiculous, but no, it looks fairly normal. Which may also look ridiculous, I don't know, but... Well, I do know. But I can't control how you perceive it, put it that way. I'm being pushed around by this tail, quite literally. Still going for the head because that is a weak point, so... Here we go. I'm quite sure that I was able to do my... Oh, no, we're both being pinned. We are sharing in the pleasure now. Oh, yeah. Again, he has died for his pleasure. You'd think CC would be able to hunt this monster a little better, wouldn't you? Which kind of confirms my suspicion that he's actually just being hit intentionally because he gets a kick out of it. Well, I don't think I was able to connect a single one of those thrusts, which is a bit embarrassing, but anyway, life goes on. Oh, it's my time to corkscrew. My time to corkscrew. Ow. Ended up with a bigger Cantor crotch in my face. We are actually at risk of failing this quest, and I almost can't believe those words are passing my lips. It's almost unbelievable. It's just a fucking Acantor. Like, this team should not be failing. Look at him standing, like, practically on top of where the monster's going to appear. What is he doing? What's he playing at? Maybe his dream is just to fail every Acantor hunt that he ever does. Maybe that would be his ultimate fantasy, I don't know. Doesn't really make all that much sense to me. I can't see anything. I've got flame explosions and flash bombs preventing me from seeing anything at all. I'm sure you would agree that that was just beyond uncomfortable. That amount of flashing. I'm sure if there were less bloom, that would be easier to handle visually, but God. Thanks for that, mate. And he's dead, thank God for that. Yes, you can kill an Acantor in a reasonable amount of time without some jerk-off unloading pierce shots into him. I do speak as one such jerk-off who has done that in the past, and does still do it occasionally. But it feels like there's always one guy with his pierce gun getting down to business. Cooling effect is worn off. Good timing, actually. My hunter does sweat and feel great discomfort, but the quest is over, so all of his pain can quite frankly just be dealt with. Live with it, mate. You've succeeded. Normal shots are great. You can be really effective with normal shots. I did actually encounter a person who was bewildered by the fact that normal shots are actually good. He asserted to me that they were garbage, and I said to him, well, they're not. This was in the context of Freedom Unite, actually. Normal shots are really good. You can use normal shots and be ineffectual. That's what would happen if you were always out of critical distance and didn't hit the weak point. You know, if you're out of critical distance and you're hitting something that's not a weak point, yeah, you're not going to do much damage, but if you're positioning yourself correctly and hitting the right parts of the monster, you can be very damaging, provided you've got normal up, and ideally sharpshooter as well, whatever the equivalent skill would be in the Freedom Unite kitchen. There may not actually be a skill for that in Freedom Unite, but it doesn't matter. A kitchen skill, that is to say. But yeah, sharpshooter and normal up with a good normal loadout, very effective. Yes, that is courtesy of the Agnactor helmet. It's got that Roman centurion look to it. Hostler fills gauge faster when attacking a monster mounted by another player. Okay. Criven is taking an immense interest in me. Some people like to look at other people's loadouts discreetly. This person literally chooses to breathe down your neck in the most conspicuous fashion possible. I don't even know what this room is meant to be. It's just, well, I suppose the person who was previously hosting it has gone now, so really it's in this Acantor guy's hands as to what we do next. And I've got a suspicion that it's going to be Acantor. Unless Criven just takes up the opportunity to post. Looks like, oh, well, he's definitely tempted to do so. I almost can't believe someone's using the Crystal Hammer in this fucking game. Crystal Galaxia. This is like a proper first-gen weapon. Weird loadout. What the fuck is he doing? I suppose he would like to do White Fatalis, wouldn't he? Oh, he's gonna post White Fatalis. You watch. Looks like Criven doesn't know what P1 means, which is unhelpful. Hammer Hunter. And apparently CC is a fledgling hunter. Oh, okay, Rome is also a fledgling hunter. Yes, I agree. Criven. This CC guy needs a reality check. Look at what's going on. No. CC, to be very, very clear, if he didn't respond to P1, write his fucking name. He's got, like, just look at his loadout. He needs to hunt White Fatalis. This was not an opportunity for you to post a quest again. Like, if you're kind enough to give him the chance to post, maybe follow it through all the way. Oh, fucking Thunderlord again. Do I really have to be the person to do this? This is what you do if they don't know what P1 means, okay? You write their name. Because if you say you can post, and the person doesn't know that they are P1, they still don't know to whom you're referring. So, that's the reality of the situation. We're not doing fucking Thunderlord again. CC's probably like, oh, let's take a break from Acantor and do some Thunderlord. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, haha, no thank you. I've done that enough already. Which is, to be clear, only once, but that's more than enough for me. Depending on my mood, I can choose not to do it at all, much less once. I do not know what Kriven is doing. I have made my offer. CC is doing the prance gesture. I shall just wait patiently. Well, if it's going to be White Fatalis, which it probably is going to be once this guy works out that he can post his own quest. Once he wakes up to himself. I should equip something that's appropriate. And I generally don't use lance. I would either go with a gun, a bow, or a switch axe. CC has posted again. I don't think I'm going to hang around in this. Well, no. The reason why I would be leaving at this stage is because Kriven is taking too long, and I'm going to try and employ some patience here, and just wait for Kriven to actually turn up. What's he doing? He has sequestered himself in the prep area and is not coming out. CC thinks that by posting a low-rank deviant that's somehow more agreeable than posting a Thunderlord. It is not. I am going to give Kriven 1 more minute. And then I will leave. To be clear, almost nothing that CC wants to post is going to work for me. Because it seems that he's either going to do a Cantor, or he's going to do Deviants. And I'm not in the mood for either, because I've done both as far as I'm concerned. I've done my time. My quota has been fulfilled. That is all for me when it comes to those quests. So, I'm at this stage not even going to change into a White Fatalis appropriate loadout. Because I suspect that Kriven is just going to disappear at this point. Kriven, Open your eyes. Can you read the chat? You have been named. Kriven Post. If you don't know what the word post means... I'm going to become unkind if you don't put your fucking White Fatalis quest on the board, mate. CC has now left the room because he's completely given up. Kriven's brain right now is like an engine that refuses to start. It just goes... I've had enough. I have had enough. And I'm back. I suspect I will be appearing at some point during the live stream that you were already watching. That is to say, the VOD of a live stream that you were already watching. Since you last saw me, I have had lunch and acquired another beverage, in fact. Let me just get my chat up on my phone and we will resume Generations Ultimate. Didn't properly enunciate though. It's like Generations Ultimate... something along those lines. I didn't really need to repeat it. I think it's a bad habit actually, like when you misspeak to then repeat it and make fun of yourself. It almost draws too much attention to it. Enough attention has been drawn to the mistake by having made it. So it's best to just move on. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, ginger wine this time around. And I wish you all a good day. I have ginger wine, so my day is at this stage quite agreeable. Now, I must say, first and foremost, that I don't know where my controller is. It was behind my phone. Second point that I'd like to make is that what was previously just a solid red battery indicator, obviously to suggest that my battery life on this controller was poor, it has since started flashing. So whether or not I can get through the rest of this live stream with a functioning controller is a question that needs to be asked. Well, perhaps not one that needs to be asked, but one that should just be allowed to float around in the background somewhere, in the back of your mind, and certainly in the back of my mind. Will I be able to continue using this controller? Who knows? That is a Nursilla quest, I think. Certainly not my first choice. Charm Farm, screams Silk with his heavy bowgun. Kazuo, let's join this room. I've just got a good feeling about it, I don't know why. Doesn't necessarily have to be a logical reason why. Let's just go with the flow. I think it's the uncertainty of it. Anything could be put on the board. And I'd like to find out along with you all. Looks like this person is just going through G rank. I was going to say for the first time, but I suppose it's not exactly known whether this person has played the game before, so what I will say is that they are actually going through the hunter ranks of this quest. Of this rank. I am now using random words to speak. That's alright. I'll have a different introduction because I'm misspeaking. Diabolical Deluge. I can certainly do that. It's not a deviant quest, and it's not a quest that I dislike in any way. And it's also not a quest that I've done repeatedly. So I can live with that. I might use something ranged, that's a good idea. Maybe Thunderlight Bowgun. This is my loadout that uses resentment, although I don't know if I'll be able to make much use of it. Sometimes I actually bring toadstools to make use of resentment, and I may actually do that, seeing as though I haven't done it recently. That is assuming that I've got any toadstools on me. I have 5, which is not really enough. I suppose I can bring 4 and then try to multiply. No, I would ideally want to multiply more than 1, so maybe I just won't do that, after all. I will be suboptimal. The best case scenario, of course, is to have resentment when you are hunting in the desert, or even in the volcano, just somewhere that's hot. A hot locale, that's what I would say. I'll do my VOD introduction now. I am back. I'm not sure where precisely you're going to have this part of the VOD slotted into the first part, but since you last saw me, I have had a nice big meal, and I have since changed beverages as well. Ginger wine this time around. The quest on the board is Hyper Plesioth. Now to be clear, I'm not a huge fan of Plesioth in any event, and a Hyper Plesioth is considerably less attractive as compared to a standard Plesioth, but I would rather do this quest than many other quests, as most of you would be aware, so I'm happy to do it. What I do actually have in terms of a loadout is a Thunderlight Bowgun loadout, which actually includes Resentment. Now, Resentment was a bonus skill that I was able to get on this set. It probably sounds a little bit unhelpful to refer to it as a bonus skill, as if it's not really all that useful. It is actually useful, but I got it because I could. Obviously, when you're making a mixed set, the different armor pieces that you use will actually make it easier or harder to get other skills, and so one of the easiest skills that I could get with mixed armor pieces that ultimately gave me these top 4 skills gave me Resentment, and so, you know, provided I gemmed it in. So I chose to go with Resentment. I suppose it's a little bit situational. You can create a scenario where Resentment can be used. Essentially what it does is it gives you a damage boost when you are healing red health. So if any amount of your health is in the red, you will get that damage boost. Now obviously the best case scenario is one where your health is being depleted passively without you even needing to worry about it. The most obvious example of that would be a hot location, where your health is being slowly but surely depleted and going into the red for pretty much the entirety of the hunt, provided you don't actually have any resistance to the heat. This is not one such quest. So if I were departing on a quest like this, for example, where I couldn't just automatically have my health depleted based on the environmental conditions, I'd probably bring something like a toadstool. I have done it in the past, like just bringing toadstools, but I don't actually have many anymore. I need to actually either purchase some, if at all possible, or trade for them. In other words, multiply them. So for the moment, I will make do with what I've got. Not much I can do about that. Don't know why it took my character about 5 hours to fucking stand up there. I might actually make use of this part of my red health, using resentment. He's gonna kill me. It is what it is. I'd be doing very well to iframe that, to be honest, because the thing with hyper monsters, which is a little bit annoying, is they actually deliberately make their attacks a little bit slower. I would actually posit the fact that, or rather the belief, that the faster a monster attacks, the easier it is to evade it. I think an excellent example of that would be Nagakuga, just generally speaking. He's pretty easy to avoid. Or evade. And I think the faster an attack is, the obviously less frames that attack is actually going to occupy in real time. So therefore, when you hit that roll button, it's so much easier to get through it. But I think hyper monsters actually deliberately slow down their attacks to make it hard. See that? See how slowly he just drops himself onto the ground there? That is entirely deliberate. So the attacks are simultaneously harder to evade, and also considerably more damaging. So yeah, all I can say is that bowgunning against a Plesioth, having played in first and second generation, I have become very used to an easy ride. Unfortunately, it's not that way anymore. I don't have any sonic bombs, by the way. Oh god! That was dangerous. Now, if I am to believe what was once told to me, apparently all of my raw and elemental damage is still dealt during the mount, but I can't see it. And if I can't see it, I'm not going to trust the damn game's actually dealing the damage. Got a fucking conga getting in my way. I can live without that. Love to have a little bit of red health here. You could see previously I was trying to make use of the red health that I... Oh, come on. What a truly horrendous attack. I'm also really annoyed by just how damaging these attacks are. I'd love to make use of the red health that I do get, but as you saw last time, it did actually cause me to die. Unless I have pretty much full health, I am going to die when this monster hits me. I now have Bullet Geyser charged, so at least I have that evasive maneuver to make use of, but... Fucking hell. Hyper Plesioth. A truly unpleasant confrontation. Just, getting my hair in order. I've been having a bad hair day today. Got a flinch there. Now we're down to Thunder level 2. I did neglect to bring Thunder level 1. It just means that, you know, my gun as a Thunder gun is not actually going to have as consistent an effect. I don't know if that's a good way to describe that, it's really not. So basically, I'm not going to be able to use my gun as a Thunder elemental gun for as long. Look at that, just this deliberate shaking of the head to make sure that everyone who is even remotely within range of that fucking water beam does actually get hit. That's terrible. So deliberate. Just need to get the hell away from it. See that Okay, so it's mostly to Plesioth's left side, where that will be effective. I don't know if that can be directional, or... In other words, I don't know if Plesioth can control the direction that that's going to go in. I'm not comfortable, though. I don't have too much more in the way... Well, I don't have many more Thunder Shots than what I currently have loaded. No, what I currently have loaded is everything. This is not helpful. No, thank you for mentioning I have a black speck. Doesn't take much of an adjustment, but it does frickin' bother me when it's there, so thank you, AJ. No! Still managed to hit me, unfortunately. Not a friendly hitbox. It's not as bad as it was in Freedom Unite, but it's not very friendly. Definitely not, not fair. I suppose the word fair comes to mind. It feels a little bit unfair. But otherwise, I suppose it wouldn't be that effective. Yeah. I have to recover my health. As tempting as it is to make use of red health, it's not a good idea. Still manages to hit me. What an infernal creature. Just a truly fucking annoying monster. At every turn, and in every game. Capcom always devising new and innovative ways to make this monster fucking annoying. Although it's not that innovative to have a tail swing and be annoying with a Plesioth, because that's the problem with Plesioth. Because he's such a gigantic monster, that tail swing has incredible range. And the range of it is not just the main shape of the tail itself, it's the spines that stick out from the tail. It gives it an even longer range than you might expect. That was well played. My decision was to get in close to evade a possible tail swing. That is not what happened. I'll just use one potion here and then hopefully I can make use of the red health here with resentment. Well, I got some damage out. Now I have to, I don't know, use slicing, I suppose. Slicing's pretty good. I'm glad this gun has slicing. Oh, excuse my nose. Been having some sinus issues lately. Now, I have to say, as far as internal ammo goes, slicing is a pretty happy alternative to elemental damage if you're using an elemental bowgun. Because usually if you're out of elemental shots, you will at that point be relying on something raw-based. Well, I can tell you, out of all the raw shot types you've got, slicing is one of the best. That's why they made it internal only in this particular game. And also generations as well. Probably not a good idea to kill the Plesioth in the water. I'm sure he can die in the water. I wouldn't doubt it. Someone's going for the capture. Very well. I can understand your choice of action. We did actually have 2 deaths there. Not an ideal situation. And things can go downhill very fast with that monster. Things seem under control in one moment, and then in the next, someone is dead. I can speak from experience, having died fairly quickly to that monster earlier on in the fight. Well, I didn't actually know that they nerfed the Prowlers in this game. My assumption was that they had been made stronger with the upgrades that were added to Prowlers, but apparently, just generally speaking, they were nerfed, based on AJ's experience having used them in Generations. I haven't really used Prowler in either game, and I do not regret that one bit. I don't feel like I've missed out or anything like that. For those of you who have been aware of my complaints about light shining on my right side, or what looks like my left side to you, I have actually resolved that now. I'm covering it with a blanket. Which works very well. It just makes for a more consistent lighting scenario. It's much better. I don't know who posted that quest. I would assume that it was Kazuya, because I don't think at HR11 you can post a Hyperplesioth, or perhaps you can. I wasn't paying attention. But I would assume that Tor is posting exclusively at this point. The hub settings don't really give me any information that I can go on, so I suppose I'll just have to watch and see how things play out. John's here. He joined me for the last recording. Or the last half of this live stream, anyway. We had a very nasty altercation with someone. Or at least it felt nasty for me. But, I suppose that's in the past now. Essentially, it was a person who took... Well, no, hold on, John. This isn't our room, you see. I don't mind you taking it upon yourself to post a quest when you're in my room, but don't do it in another person's room. That was part of the issue last time. So I was the room host, and then someone else took exception to the fact that John was hosting so much. But you see, I just wanted to do one more hunt for the end of the live stream at that point. Sadly, however, they posted an EX quest, and I was not really looking to do an EX quest. It sort of... it didn't play out well, we'll put it that way, because someone else joined and then sided with them, and then it's like, well, it's not a turns room. You don't have some kind of... You're not entitled to choose a quest just because you've been in the room for a while. But... yeah, I think that principle was not really taken on board, and sort of turned into an awkward situation, we'll put it that way. So it looks like Kazuyo is looking to do a sort of turn setup. Presumably he did actually post the last quest, so it's going to be Tor, followed by me, and I will skip my turn. Then John can go in my place. I'm trying to remember what was put on the board. I'll just use a raw loadout. Yeah, blunt greatsword, that works for me. The Lost Expedition. I don't know about using a greatsword for this, but it's manageable. It's not exactly ideal or enjoyable, but it is manageable. So I do note that I have been consuming a lot of Mega Potions in recent quests, and I don't have a huge amount of honey in the box. But I am pleased to say that I am currently multiplying honey. So that's one good thing. Probably shouldn't have even bothered with a follow-up there. It was almost certain that the monster was not going to stay in one place there for long enough for me to get a double level 3. It was not happening. So we've got Kazuya with a light bowgun. I can see that he's... I don't really know what that was. Looked like he was rapid firing something. Yeah, he's just rapid firing what looks like normal shots. It's interesting. I generally advise against rapid firing normal shots because it's counterintuitive to the purpose of the shot type. So if you're doing rapid fire, what it does is it actually divides your overall damage across 3 shots. Now if you're getting all 3 of them on target, that's good damage. But if you're using normal shots, you should be aiming for weak points specifically, and it's much harder to be on target with a moving monster when you're rapid firing your 3 shots. So when you consider that those 3 shots are going to actually have individually reduced damage, it's pretty bad to not actually be able to get all of them on target. And that is precisely how it plays out in most scenarios when you're using rapid normal. So yeah, I didn't necessarily have to experience negative outcomes in order to come to that conclusion. I did at one time have a rapid normal set, but I thought about it and I decided, well no, it doesn't really make that much sense. Yes, Rome, I'm doing another stream. Mainly because the last one ended in such poor circumstances. I'd rather end on a positive note than after having an altercation like that. Nope. Toe got thrown off, unfortunately. Nope. Obviously, as the greatsword user, I have to wait for my opportunity. Or I can just go in for Moonbreaker. Although it's worth mentioning that if I'm waiting for the right time to use Moonbreaker, it's about the same as waiting for the right time to do a level 3 charge. It takes a while to get a full Moonbreaker attack out. Not quite as long as a level 3 charge now that I look at it. It's probably closer to a level 2. Very good. Apparently Tor and John didn't bring hot drinks. Well, that's unfortunate. To be fair, I hadn't topped up my hot drinks, I only had 3. So one would hope that if I had depleted them in a previous quest I would have bought them, but what I can tell you is that I didn't make sure that they were stocked up, so I'm not going to... I'm not going to dig into them for getting hot drinks, because I didn't check to make sure that I had them, if that makes sense. I'm not one to use item sets. I'm not an item set person. I'm not opposed to them or averse to them. I'm just... I don't rely on them, so I don't use them at all. But, yeah. I would love to be able to kill this fucking monster here. Excellent. I'm glad we didn't have to pursue him. That would have been annoying. It is the most annoying situation when the quest is basically over, but you have to add an extra 2 minutes onto the confrontation because you need to follow the monster all the way to where they've gone after fleeing the area, and then you have to kill them once they land, or once they get there. Kazuyo says in the chat, "Thank you so much!" with several exclamation marks. I don't know why, it wasn't his quest, and it's quite what I would describe as an excessive comment to make, given the circumstance. But anyway. Yeah, rapid fire takes longer, so you have that reduced DPS. So just, I mean, rapid fire has its place, but it just does not work with normal shots. I think initially you would look at it and go, oh wow, that sounds like a great idea. Rapid normal, but it's not. In practice, it is just not better. It's considerably worse, so I wouldn't recommend it, to put it simply. Got a Wyvern gem out of that. So now it's going to be my turn, technically, but I'm going to skip it. Alright, so I'm saying skip in the chat, which should make it quite clear that it is now John's turn to post. I might actually go and purchase hot drinks after having mentioned that in the previous one. What have we got? Uragan Grief. Very well. Something water. How about water blunt dual blades? That's a bit unique. Here we go, Spirit Twists. See, how cool is that? That's just a really fun way to have an alternative to what would otherwise be your standard choice of water dual blades. Just a water blunt. It's cool. May even be less effective than your other choice, but it's a different choice that is still technically effective. That's the reason why I do it. Just gives you that variety. And off we go. For this particular part of the live stream, I'm only going to do about an hour. My intention is to just sort of tack it on to the VOD that I did before. What is the monster? Uragan. I don't even know where he starts. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but it just feels entirely wrong to fight an Uragan in this location. Because, fairly obviously, I associate this location with second-gen monsters. So finding something like an Uragan, where I would expect to fight him in the third-gen volcano, it's almost like he's in the wrong place. I understand that he comes from a volcanic territory, and this is a volcanic location, but it doesn't mean that it feels right. It still feels just out of place. Or rather, he feels out of place. I'd love to flinch him. It was worth a try. I wasn't able to get out of there in time, based on the scenario that I was in, so thought I'd go for a flinch, but I suppose it was a bit early for that. But yeah, I haven't been playing enough Generations Ultimate lately, so I'll try to do a little bit more. I feel like I've been forgetting about the game, as if it's not even an option in my mind. But there are other games that can possibly be characterized in the same terms, such as Portable Third. Like, I just don't really think to do Portable Third. Admittedly, Try has not been on the agenda recently either, but I don't really feel like doing Try. There are two main reasons why. Of all of the games that I can play online, at this stage, Try is probably the hardest to get a decent team in. And the harder it is to actually get a team in a game, the less likely I'm actually going to be playing it while recording. And second of all, I just don't really get that much enjoyment out of Try. I do enjoy playing it, and I like presenting it to you all, but to be honest, like, there's not much going on in that game. If I'm going to be playing in the end game, it's going to be pretty much the HR-51 quests, and they get boring really quickly. And I mean it. Like, they get boring. And even for my own personal progression with that character, which is fairly well built, but I do want better talismans with it. If I want decent talismans, I need to do HR-51 quests, and as I say, they're fucking boring, so yeah, there's not much enjoyment to be had in that game. And if there is enjoyment, it's limited. And if I want to get some enjoyment out of playing it, I'd probably experience that enjoyment, if not at a greater potency level, by playing 3 Ultimate, which I think would be actually, at this stage, better to watch. I don't know. I'm in 2 minds about Tri. It's not like I'm never going to record it again, but I did a number of recordings recently and I just don't really want to do it again for a while. At least not while it's so hard to get people to play with. Because if that's what you want to do, like if you want to pretty much just do HR-51 quests, it's very hard to get a group at that point. There we go, got another knockdown. Do Bloodwind again. I still don't have Bloodwind 3, I don't know which quest that is that gives it. I believe I have access to it, I just don't remember which one it is. It's a villager request, I'm quite sure. Oh god. Press the wrong button to evade, that's good. Not much I could have done there. Finally, Wolf's Maw has actually charged. I feel like that took a little bit too long. That didn't feel like the natural amount of time for Wolf's Maw to charge. Could always be wrong. Could be going crazy. All of these things are possible. Ow. Fucking Uroktor. You know, it's not just the location that feels wrong when fighting this Urugan. The music feels wrong. Everything is just wrong. I can't do it. It's because I've played Tri and 3 Ultimate fighting Urugan, and I just can't imagine him anywhere else, and with any theme other than that. Other than the Volcano theme of 3rd Gen Monster Hunter. Oh, and also, sorry, Portable 3rd, Tri and 3 Ultimate. Fighting him in that location, and it's become ingrained in my mind. Oh, my controller died. That's bad news. That's really bad news. So this charges with mini. This charges with mini USB. I'm using a Wii U Pro controller. So I have to find my mini USB cable. Bear with me, folks. I may have to die here, but I need to go and find a mini USB cable. It'll be somewhere, just don't know where. Incredibly, I still had my mini USB cable connected into my USB hub from when I used to use my DualShock 3 controller on PC. So, crisis averted in terms of the livestream. Race against time. Can you believe that I survived? I would never have guessed, personally. Never would have guessed. But yeah, there it is. I should have plugged it into the charging port of, or the power port of my hub, but it's instead on the data, port, but that's alright. I'm getting enough charge for the controller to work, and that's what's important. I was not expecting it to play out like that. Or to play out so positively. I definitely need to charge this up a bit. And I don't mean my controller, I mean my dual blades. Can I just say how comfortable it is to have both Marathon Runner and Stamina Recovery up? I need to try and recreate this set in For Ultimate. I did actually express an interest in doing that recently, without actually using this loadout as a point of reference. I just sort of came to that conclusion on my own. But it's more like the decision to do that was the same, it came from the same place. The same logic that ultimately led me to make this set in this game. Just the desire to have a dual blade specific loadout. Still haven't quite made one in For Ultimate after all of these years. But I'm becoming increasingly more inclined to actually take the time to do it. I think I tried to figure out an armor set and I couldn't quite get a good one. I couldn't get Marathon Runner and Stamina Recovery up with skills that worked for me. I can try again, I'll give it another try, because maybe I didn't try hard enough, this is possible. So, we'll give it another try. Not at any point now, not during this recording, but I will do it. But seriously, like, look at how slowly that depletes my stamina. And when I exit out of it, look how quickly my stamina recovers. Like, I'm sorry, if that doesn't give you deep pleasure, nothing will. Like, you probably don't enjoy Monster Hunter. If that doesn't give you pleasure, this is probably not the series for you. Now, whether or not you are willing to sacrifice damage skills in order to get that, that's up to you. But it should still give you pleasure. And I'm willing to cast aspersions upon you if you don't find pleasure out of it. Or find pleasure in that. Alrighty. I'm just glad that I've got a functioning controller. My choice to use the Wii U Pro controller is an interesting one. I think there was a reason why, wasn't there? I think I used to use my PS4 controller. Well, one way or the other, it's better to have a controller dedicated to PC setup and then another one dedicated to Switch. And because I'm not using my Wii U at the moment, better to use this controller. Anyway. My nose is getting a bit blocked, so I'll be back in just a moment. Some people use medication. I use the old-fashioned technique. So much better. Alright. Water kerfuffle. Oh, that's in the jungle. It's got a different name for the Misty Peaks. How long has it been since you've interacted with your Wii U? It hasn't been that long. It's only since the server shut down for the Wii U. I did my final Wii U livestream for 3 Ultimate, whenever that was. It was like a day or two before the server shut down, and then that was it. Unfortunately, I don't really have a reason to use a Wii U outside of that. I bought my Wii U for 3 Ultimate back in 2013, and the only game, or I suppose games, that I bought for it afterwards were Wind Waker Remastered and Twilight Princess Remastered, so until such time that I want to play those games again, I don't really have a reason to even turn on my Wii U. Which is a shame, but doesn't mean it's not the truth. Maybe I'll use a bow. How about heavy bow? Heavy thunder? Whatever that's going to end up being. Well, it would help to go to the bows, Doomlink, seriously. Orcus Sagittas? No. I have them written down somewhere. Aha, it'll be that. Archbeast Avatar. I mean, if you expect me to memorize something like this, I'm sorry, but... like... get a grip. There's no way I'm going to remember something like this. Breath of the Wild? Okay, that's true. No, sorry, I did get Breath of the Wild as well. How about that? Rome is reminding me of the games that I've bought on my own console. Yes, I did buy Breath of the Wild for Wii U. And, yeah, that was actually the second game that I bought, I think. Or did I get Wind Waker before that? Maybe, no, I think I got Wind Waker before that. Wasn't much before then, though. It was, I think it was 2016 when I got Wind Waker. So, would have only been about a year before. Alright, power level 2. I suppose I'd better keep my Wii U connected to the power then, hey. Because I do actually intend to continue playing on that profile in Breath of the Wild on my channel. It's never the best idea, because Breath of the Wild doesn't run very well on Wii U, that is a fact, but... yeah. It is the profile that I've been playing on for so many years, so I'd say it's worth it. What the hell are we hunting? Mizutsune. Apparently he's up here, I don't have any memory of him even being over here. Oh, is he in the northernmost island? I think so. Yeah, he is. Okay, I do have a memory of that. As it so happens. Now that's how you fucking do it. Didn't I have, like, look at this foliage, see how that fucking disappears? That's how you do it. Take notes, Alpha Team. Yeah, sure, it's not realistic, but hey, sometimes realism doesn't make the game better. Ever thought of that? You tell that to Alpha Team, they'll have a heart attack. You tell them that realism and fucking concepts, you tell them that concepts don't make a good video game, they will absolutely have a meltdown. They won't be able to handle it. Oh, missed. Heavy shot is an art form. It really is. And I love it. Gets, I'm not going to say trivialized. I would say that heavy shot is changed quite considerably by Valor Shot, or by using Valor. So, yeah, this is what it looks like if you're not using Valor, okay? I like heavy shot in general. Whether it's elemental or not, like, it's really satisfying. What I don't like about Heavy Shot, and it has nothing to do with Heavy Shot in and of itself, but it does have everything to do with the balancing as a result of Heavy Shot being introduced. As a result of Heavy Shot being brought in, Rapid Shot is now weaker. That pisses me off. So really, if I'm minded to use Rapid, I should consider whether or not I instead want to use Heavy. If I were tempted to use Rapid for any particular damage dealing reasons, I should instead use Heavy Shot, because I think Heavy Shot deals the damage that Rapid once did, and then Rapid deals less. That might not be exactly correct, but it's something along those lines. It's almost correct, what I just said. So what I'd say is that I think Heavy is slightly more damaging than Rapid was previously, and then Rapid has been nerfed for balancing reasons. Because obviously, like, if you're going to have this kind of accuracy, if you're going to have this heavy arrow drop, which requires a much more specific aiming system, it would be almost pointless if Rapid weren't considerably weaker. But then also for balancing reasons, they couldn't make Heavy Shot considerably stronger than Rapid previously was. I believe that's how it works. So yeah, as much as I love Heavy Shot, I also love Rapid, so I don't know. I'm in two minds about it. Completely missed there. I love this bow though. How could you not look at this bow and think it's amazing? Managed to break the face in a very cinematic and very deliberate way. I think he's limping out. No, he's not. He's just leaving. Fuck off. That's it. You have incurred my wrath. Small crustacean. Get out of here. Ugh. Get out of the way of that. That attack is what the Plesioth Water Beam used to be. Properly unidirectional. Ooh. Got level 1 bubble. That's what I call it. Level 1 bubble. Sounds awfully cute, doesn't it? Oh, level 2 bubble. Well, you can break out of it quickly, it just helps to actually watch to see if you're in danger before trying to break out of it. There's our limp. I reckon we can prevent the... Oh, what the hell was that? Look at him go! Look at him! What the fuck is that? Is that for real? This is worse than a cartoon. Am I supposed to assume that he flies? Because there's no other way that he would be able to achieve that. To actually jump that fucking high in the air, and then, ooh, like he's the fucking dragon from the Neverending Story. Like, what is going on? That's unbelievable. Like, how am I supposed to see that and not have my immersion completely destroyed? It's like watching, I don't know, Congalala flying around like that. If you're gonna jump, seriously, just... I don't know. Don't jump that high. Oh, hello. It's a bit of a random appearance. Hello, Nagakuka. Don't you find that to be a strange monster invasion? Oh, there's a Nagakuga randomly in this quest. There's something about Nagakuga, he's a little bit too important of a monster to just be randomly appearing in a quest like that, but... oh well. Flying Mizutsune. Maybe it's a subspecies. Sounds like something that Frontier would do, but Frontier was already on the way out by the time this game came out. Sadly. Frontier would definitely have a floating Mizutsune monster. In fact, I bet there is one. I'd almost guarantee there is a monster in Frontier that's like that. I can think of monsters, like there's one in Monster Hunter Online that sort of floats above the ground like that. I'm not thinking of Amatsu. Although I suppose that's what Amatsu is, if you think about it. Yeah, Amatsu's basically a floating Mizutsune now that I think about it. Sort of a Japanese dragon. Floats instead of walks. Yeah, I guess they've already done it. Never mind. I'll probably do one more quest with Heavy Shot. It's fun. Alright, so it is Tor's turn to post a quest. He is welcome to post whatever it is. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's welcome to post what he truly needs, not what he happens to want at this time, because I don't want any fucking random deviant quests. I can live without that. What have we got? A certain gravitas. Get it? Because gravitas is similar to gravios. Blunt longsword. Have I got a blunt water longsword? And if I don't, I will ask the question of whether... well, no, it's probably not Stonefist. I will ask the question if I can make such a longsword. Maybe it's the Empyrean Eve. Maybe I would use that. No, it's not upgraded. I seem to remember using the Empyrean Eve. Basically, it's not immediately useful as a blunt weapon, but over time, it does actually become usable as such. Alright. Basically, I just pray that I drop sharpness as quickly as possible. That's how it works. Volcanic hollow, bereft of life, where not a blade of grass grows, nor cheerful swallow sings. Yeah, alright. What if swallows aren't anywhere close to this fucking location? What if the nearest swallow is like on the other continent? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean swallow? Sorry, I'm very cynical when it comes to that kind of writing. Cool drink, I guess. No. I was wondering if I could get a good old drop attack Now if I was hoping that if I landed I'd be able to cancel out the sleep. That's ridiculous. Jesus, how did he shoot that down there? I forgot that he could do that. Okay. That's going to a lot of effort. Just get down here, man. Alright, well, this Rhinopolis asked for it. I do love this sword. Alright, Tor has decided to mount the monster up there, so I have no choice but to climb. No choice. Can't even get up in time to make use of it, really. Well, AJ, as much as I would like to tell Tor that it is important to bring cool drinks and hot drinks, I suspect that he doesn't really speak English. I could be wrong, but he is Chinese, so it may fall on deaf ears. Maybe it would be the right thing to do, to try. So we're at blue sharpness now. We're not going to be at full damage until we reach green sharpness. Sounds weird, I know, but it is how it works if I'm using a bludgeon or loadout. I'm going to use Unhinged Spirit now. Should be able to get myself down to green pretty soon. I suspect this monster will be fucking dead by the time I get to it. Poor bastard. Look at him go. Permanently on the ground. Where's my green? Thing is, we're playing... there's my green. We're playing Generations Ultimate, so I can just keep swinging my sword like a madman. Although, to be honest, having the monster on his back like this is not making it easier to hit him. Well, it is now, but I'd rather he wasn't in that position. Get out of there. Ugh. We are now at full damage, so we have 398 true raw with, well, 15. Whoops, I didn't mean to ping. With 15 element. I was expecting, like, amazing element. No, it is admittedly an Amatsuma Gotsuchi weapon, which doesn't have much in the way of element. It always focuses more on raw damage, but still, pretty good raw damage for a longsword. Fucking hell, you can't go wrong with 398, can you? Not in my opinion. Look out. Roly-poly. I've dropped down to yellow, unfortunately. Not in terms of sharpness, of course, but in terms of longsword charge. Where is he going? Do not allow him to leave. I had some shinies that I could have picked up that I chose to forego in favor of preventing this monster from leaving. It didn't work out, but that's alright. I'm not going to go back for them. I'm not that desperate. Come here, you big bastard. I'll critical juncture whatever you do to me. Well, I did intend to use it for that roar, but that's alright. I have to say that the Amatsu Magastachi weapons, I just haven't used them enough. I don't dislike them at all. I think they're actually better in Portable Third than in this game. Although that's probably wrong, because you can take advantage of Bludgeoner in this game, so... But yeah, the Amatsu Magastachi weapons, their stats in Portable Third are really, really good. Like, for a high rank game. So, yeah, I like them. Like, you can get something like 230, or possibly even more, like 240 true raw with an Amatsu longsword in Portable Third, which is crazy. Like, and with blue sharpness, not green, blue. Really proper damage. Quest complete. I will do one more quest. There's a very watery final screen. Check that out. Big splash attack. Crazy. When splashing some water on a monster kills it. I'm walking around, what's her name, the Mistress? Yeah, walking around her. I'm trying to intimidate her into silence. Frontier fisticuffs. It's interesting, after having just mentioned Frontier. Well, what's a good weapon to use for this? Thunder would be the best choice. Because we do have Rathian and Plesioth, so some kind of thunder weapon is in order. Blunt lance, let's do it. No, I don't seem to have a blunt thunder lance, so that sucks. I'm just in a blunt weapon mood. Blunt thunder greatsword? Doesn't really look like it. No. Okay. It's just a bit confusing because I do have two different greatsword sets. With one of them, I use the Kezu greatsword, and with the other, I use the Lagyo Cruz greatsword. I'd be able to work out pretty quickly which one I use for what, but... yeah, I don't have a blunt one, unfortunately. Right, blunt gun lance. Let's just use this. I don't think I have many blunt gun lances, but this is a cool one. I like this a lot. Any opportunity I get to use this loadout is an opportunity that puts a smile on my face. Check this out. 372 true raw, a solid chunk of green, shot level 5, with this loadout. Repeat offender, obviously, hopefully reducing that negative affinity a little bit. But yeah, I really like this loadout. And it's nice to be able to use a Baroth weapon in this game. You almost never see Baroth weapons in this game. Like, I challenge you, go looking for it. Go looking for it. Let me know when you find one. Oh yes, I know where you are. You're in the muddy location. It is tempting to use a Farcaster, but I will resist the temptation. I'll hold off on a cool drink for now. Are you kidding me? I thought he was here. Oh well. Let's just use a cool drink, fuck it. Yeah, I thought he was in this spot. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Baroth. Because I'm using a Baroth weapon, I had in my head that we were fighting Baroth. How pathetic is that? So we're starting with Cephadrome. I think. Or is it? Oh, okay, so it's Rathian in there. It must be Rathian, because thinking back to Dread Queen, she also starts in that area, so... Okay. Apparently, Cephadrome is over that way, so let's go and fight Rathian over here, particularly because she's being mounted. Apparently Tor failed another mount. You'd think he would have gotten the hang of it by now, wouldn't you? I guess some people really need guidance. Like, really need guidance. I would be the first to say that the mounting system can get the better of you at times, but fucking hell, the system's pretty basic. I think Tor's problem is that he doesn't understand how it works at all. Not all that favourable considering he's using an insect glaive. Ugh. How forgiving is that wind pressure? Seriously. If it even exists there. I don't think a Rathian dropping down even produces wind pressure anymore. Okay. Can Tor do it this time? He managed it. Wow. Oh, I had not reloaded. A little bit dangerous though. I did actually see that I was able to deal a critical hit just previously. So Repeat Offender is obviously doing its work. It's doing what I intended it to. I don't think that shot actually made contact. If it did hit anyone, or anything, it was Tor. I think. I can save my Dragon Blast for Mr. Cephadrome. But yeah, I really like this gun lance. It's just nice to have the opportunity to use it, and to know that I'm being effective, And yeah, like I don't even think it was in Portable Third. I think it was only in 3 Ultimate. Up until this point. So yeah. I think he's moving again. Fucking hell. I'm really glad someone paintballed it, actually. I suppose I would have used a Psycho Serum anyway. I do have them on my person. But yeah. Has anyone got sonic bombs? This is actually a proper fight, though. He'll just come out of the sand fairly regularly. Doesn't just swim around. Although proper fight is a strong choice of phrase. As you can see, he's not exactly the most aggressive monster. Yeah, get fucked. You're about to get dragon blasted. It's probably more than you deserve, but in some ways, you deserve all of what this dragon blast is going to do to you. I need to Wyvern Fire. This'll fucking kill it for sure. Apparently not. I'm just going to assume that it didn't even hit the monster. Because surely if it would have made contact, it would have killed it. Tor got thrown off again. Do you know what? I've actually decided that Tor doesn't realise that he can hold R to hold on to the monster while mounting. I've decided that he must not realise that. Because if he did realise that, there's no way he would be getting thrown off this frequently. And against literally everything that he mounts. I don't think he realises he can do that. He really does need some guidance, this guy. Kill it. Come on, he should be dead. There we go. Excellent. Next we've got Plesioth. So one would assume that he appears in his usual spot. So I will make my way over to that location. I would say that Kazuyo is taking the long way, but that's just me. There he is. You big ugly bastard. I assume that he appeared once the Rathian despawned. Come on. Don't be shy now. If I was smart, I would have brought trank bombs, but I didn't. Not trank bombs, sorry. Sonic bombs. I need to get my Wyvern Fire out. Let's see if I can do it. Excellent. That's what we want. Wasn't able to shield in time, though. God, it was dangerous. That's got to be some solid damage. I'm not sure what all these shinies are from. And I'm not going to pick them up to find out. They could be from the monster, might not be. To speak for myself, I don't like that they changed the shells to... This guy needs to stop mounting the monster. He really does. This guy just needs to either learn or give up. I'm sorry, I've watched him fail too many mounts now. It's just reached the point where it's sad. It's like he doesn't realize that he's doing something wrong. Maybe he's not watching enough other people mounting monsters to work out that the problem is him and not the game. I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt up until that point, but God. He needs to stop. Take that, Plezzy. And then take that. God. I guess I don't have guard up. No, I do not. I have guard +1 though. Better than nothing. There's an incredible beatdown going on right now. And I can assure you that it's not against us. This Plesioth has taken a lot of damage. Come on. Get yourself over here now. Well, he just prolonged that unnecessarily. In fact, we almost killed it in the water. All done. I enjoyed that hunt. That was a bit different. Cephadrome, Rathian, and Plesioth. Bit of a different lineup to the typical lineup that you would expect. At least among the quests that are posted by people in this community. Oh. You crafty bastard. Look at him. Is it really worth it, mate? You're delaying the inevitable. Never mind, he did survive. I called it the inevitable, but no, he didn't die. He is alive. And he has his stupid jumping around antics to thank for that. Ugh. Alright. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. It'll be a bit of a mishmash of 2 live streams brought into one, but they were both recorded on the same day, one after the other. I do thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time I'm recording either this game or some other Monster Hunter game, or whatever I happen to be recording that you would like to watch. I'll bid you all farewell for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.